All right, well, hello and thank you for tuning in today. We're joined today by Laura Hoehn, Career and College Readiness Coordinator with Livingston Career and College Access Network through LESA. Wow, that's a mouthful. Welcome, Laura. Before we share your exciting news today, why don't you take a few minutes and tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yep, thank you, Diane. I am, as she said, I am the Career and College Readiness Coordinator over at LESA, Livingston Educational Service Agency, in the Career Development Department, and I help to connect students with employers and experiences so that they can better know what they are going to be doing beyond high school, whether it is at more education or it's training or it's a job. We're here to help to connect students with those opportunities to help cement their plans for their future.
That is such a tremendous resource that we have for our students, and hopefully they are taking advantage of this opportunity and realizing that this is within their their community to be able to experience these different jobs that may not be on people's radar. Kind of conventional different avenues for them to take. So, and we have an important event coming up on April 28th. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. And just as an answer to your comment about students taking advantage, I really thank the Howell Chamber for opportunities like this to be able to promote to both businesses and to students and families. We've had a lot of great response from these podcasts and then our other marketing that's going out, and grown our Job Shadow Day event, which we do biannually. We've grown that by leaps and bounds with student interest. So hopefully this next step, which is our youth employment fair, will help to grow that as well. On Thursday, April 28th, we are having a youth employment fair at Livingston Educational Service Agency inside the Ed Center from 5 to 8 p.m. This is directed to students that are 16 and beyond, graduates from Livingston County, and they could have graduated or they could be juniors or seniors in high school, and we'll have lots of employers. Right now I think we're over 55 employers from the county to be able to offer apprenticeships, internships, full-time, part-time, and summer employment in careers that could be future opportunities for students in the county. So we're really excited.
That's awesome. Because I think the last number I saw was at 40 employers. So obviously, the business sector is starting to realize that this is this is kind of an untapped resource that they may not have thought about going out and really having those conversations at that age, when kids are being bombarded with so many different career choices, and like I said, maybe not thinking outside of the box as to some of the other maybe non-traditional avenues are available to them. So these types of events, how do they benefit the employers long term?
So we are excited to see our students connecting with employers. They make that first step in Job Shadow Day, where they connect with the employer, they learn a little bit more about the business, and they try it on for size to see if that's a good fit for them. And then this next step, which is our youth employment fair, is an opportunity for the employers to work with the students on a longer term, whether it's in an internship or apprenticeship or summer part-time, full-time work, and then help to grow their connection with the student to help grow their workforce. Ideally, what we'd love to see is repeat events like this so that each year employers could build a pipeline from the schools, and the word of mouth as well as student experiences would spread so that employers would constantly have that funnel of students coming to them for helping to support their employment needs. We've had a really cool experience with Brighton Ford, where they had a student for a Job Shadow Day that was one of our early college students in automotive. He shadowed, and he was very impressive to Brighton Ford, according to Scott Green, and he hired him right there on the spot. They pulled him into an interview room, asked him some more questions, and hired him. So we hope to make that match for employers, that we have students coming out of our county with amazing talent, amazing training in our career tech ed programs, as well as our early college. And this is a great resource for our businesses that are so desperately in need of employees.
And that is so true. Catching them at this age when, like I said, they're not really quite sure what they want to do, and kind of letting them try it on for size and see what piques their interest and what kind of resonates with them. And I'm sure that probably many students maybe start down a path that maybe they didn't think about before, or have been introduced to something that kind of gets the wheels turning and makes them start thinking that, oh, this might be a viable option for me, something that's really interesting. So what can students and the businesses expect from the job fair?
So students can come anytime between 5 and 8 p.m. They do not have to be pre-registered. However, if you do pre-register as a student, on Friday of this week, you will receive from me a list of all the employers and all of their opportunities, and they're coded by whether they're full-time, summertime, part-time apprenticeships or internships. So students that pre-register will get this list, and we encourage the students to do some research ahead of time. This is some of the employability skills that we want to help train our students, and that would be to take the links that we share with you about each of the employers and learn a little bit more about the business so that you feel comfortable in talking to this employer and knowing how to ask some questions about some specific things. And so students can show up, it's open house style, so they can show up anytime between 5 and 8, and we will have businesses lined up all through the Ed Center in Livingston Educational Service Agency Ed Center, and they'll have tables with promotional materials and contact information, and students will come and just speak with them about what opportunities are there. We encourage the students to dress for success, dress to be hired. We don't know what will happen at these events. I'm not sure if employers will be ready to interview at that moment, set up interviews, how they will move forward, since this is our first time doing this. But we really hope for some awesome success stories like our Brighton Ford story that will come out of this, where businesses will walk away with several new employees or employee leads, and students will walk away with some amazing experience that will help them lead to their next step.
And for businesses out there that maybe are on the cusp of thinking, oh, is this something that I should participate or not participate in? What is, what should they expect going into this, or how should they prepare to kind of work with these kids that they're talking to?
So we are promoting this in all 5 districts and our charters and private schools in the county. So you have the promotional aspect already that is huge to urge you to come, because we're sharing this with students across the board. And so we anticipate a large volume of candidates to come. And as far as what to be prepared with, I would say just be ready to figure out how you want to make your next connection with students. Do you want to have a place where they can sign up online to interview? Do you want a QR code that leads to an application form? How would you like to connect with them next, I guess would be my question for you as an employer, and then bring the materials accordingly so that you can set up and move your employment practices forward as quickly as you can.
No, that's great information, both for the students and for the businesses. Now, for the students, you had mentioned that there may be on-site interviews, so they may be walking up to these tables and talking to these employers and finding themselves in an interview situation. Are there resources, or is there any sort of preparation that the kids can do on their own to kind of hone in on those skills? Because I'm thinking that maybe for some of them that is going to be, that's a kind of that fear factor.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do if they start asking me questions?
Absolutely. Well, any conversation that you're having, whether it's at Job Shadow Day or if it's at a company tour, any of those conversations are really mini interviews, because that's that first impression. that you are leaving with the possible future employer. So always being polished and ready to speak about yourself and maybe give a few examples of what kind of skills you have or how you could benefit this employer is always a good thing to have in your back pocket. We are sending out, in partnership with Michigan Works, we are sending out a PowerPoint with some tips for interviewing and kind of career fair experiences. So things like I had mentioned where I said to research the employers, go to their website, read about what they do. It's always good to have that prepared in your mind. And then a few different examples of how you can help to benefit that employer would be great. And always there's YouTube. I mean, YouTube, mock interviews, YouTube, resumes. Resume is a great thing to bring with you. And there are some awesome resources on YouTube about how to create a resume with templates and everything like that. So we will be sending those out to the pre-registered students, some of those links, so that students can have those right at their fingertips. But if they don't get a chance to pre-register, don't worry. I would just say do the research ahead of time of how to be prepared and be yourself. And just be yourself as best you can. And aside from the nerves, and just never know what you could expect by coming.
That is great advice, and like you mentioned, there's so many resources out there for kids, and just practicing, just even sitting down with your parents and doing the mock interview.
Yeah.
So I did just mention the parents. Are they welcome to come with the students? Are they encouraged to come, or is that something that you feel is probably going to kind of add to the nerves for the
well, I guess that depends on the relationship, right? Well, I would say in most interview situations, even though if I brought my mom with me, she would say great things about me to the employer, it's probably best for you to learn to represent yourself without your parent with you. But parents can for sure help to spread the information. In fact, we've put this on some of our mom-to-mom sites in the different communities, and it's been spreading like wildfire that way. So we appreciate parents encouraging their students to come. And like you had said, maybe practicing a little bit with them about mock interviews, making sure that their shirts are tucked in before they leave the house. Like those kind of things would be great support, and just help spreading the word to students to encourage them to come and explore this opportunity.
Well, I had to ask that because as a mom, sometimes you want to kind of interject yourself into situations, and I do think that the parents play a very important role in just kind of helping them navigate, but also, like you said, being able to do those mock interviews with them, and hopefully just building their confidence and giving them that practice. We have mentioned pre-registering, so how would potential students who would like to attend this, how would they go about pre-registering for the event?
So I will share a link with you that they can use. We have flyers that are distributed in all of the schools. They're on a lot of the schools' websites and Facebook pages, but they're also coming in through principal communication, but we can also tag that in this podcast, so that if a student wants to pre-register and get those extra resources, then they can do that. They don't have to pre-register though. So if that day works out, Thursday, April 28th, and your practice gets canceled and you're able to come, just come and just, bring your A game and be ready to meet a lot of wonderful employers from our county.
Well, thank you so much, Laura, for coming on today and sharing this great event with us. And we will look forward to a great turnout. And again, thank you.
Thank you.